Hey, welcome to Defenders of Comics. This is our first podcast, and hopefully you will enjoy it. We will do a weekly podcast where we will talk about headlines. We're going to talk about nerd drama. We're going to go into a deeper dive. I'm going to say more. He's going to go into a deeper dive. And by the way, my name's Coach. This is Ace. I want him to be called Brainiac, not Ace, because I have never met a guy that knows more about comics than this guy right over here.
Yeah, maybe there's copyright issues there. We don't know.
So now, the next thing we're going to do is just jump right into headlines, and the biggest headline for this week is, without a doubt, I think, WandaVision.
Yeah, WandaVision started this week on DisneyPlus, so it's also the first Marvel show that they've released onto that platform. There's huge excitement for it. We had a lot of delays because of COVID. It was actually supposed to be Falcon and the Winter Soldier that came first, but they went ahead and had WandaVision ready, so here we are. And the first episode appeared last night, so we're going to go in and give our initial thoughts on it. And these initial thoughts will be spoiler-free to start out with. So, Coach, what'd you think?
My initial thought was, if you don't know, I'm going to be more of a practical type of a comic guy. I'm not the world most knowledge kind of person. So if you're just watching this for entertainment, I'm confused. I mean, honestly. Because it reminds me of right away, 50s sitcom, Leave It to Beaver type of kind of stuff.
Right.
And I know enough that I knew stuff going on, but I'm confused if I'm just a casual fan, 100%.
So that's interesting, and that worries me slightly because as a big fan, I'm pretty excited. But that's a good litmus test because if you're more of a casual watcher, are into Marvel only for the movies and TV shows, yeah, I think there is a level of confusion there that I'm hoping there was enough to hook in the viewers because the first two episodes maybe didn't quite have that.
I'm very concerned because I don't know if my wife is going to watch another episode after the first two.
Okay.
Well, and that's what I'm concerned about. And I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy it, but I can understand that she was like, this is just weird.
Yeah. Conversely, my wife did enjoy it, and I went into it thinking she would not. So we got through the first two episodes. My gut reaction was going to be, this isn't going to be for her. Mm-hmm. And she actually enjoyed it, but because I think, and we can go into that too, the style of the first two episodes were very faithful to the old sitcoms. And episode 1, I don't believe this is a spoiler, but is very much old school Dick Van Dyke Show.
Didn't they actually use the set of Dick Van Dyke?
If they didn't, it's almost identical.
I heard that they either copied it or it was the actual set.
Yeah, I think it probably was. It was a great replica. So it was the same kind of storylines that Dick Van Dyke and Mary Tyler Moore would have gotten into was the kind of gist of this first episode. So my wife liked that.
I'm hoping my wife does. She has not seen it yet.
Yeah.
Now, my question is, before we get into the spoilers, which is coming up, did your wife understand any of the Easter eggs that were out there? Did she even notice them? That would be a question.
She did a couple, and that's probably only through years of being married to me. But, yeah, she caught a few, but only the most obvious ones, which we'll get into.
Speaking of getting into, it's time for spoilers. So if you do not want to hear any spoilers, you can unfortunately shut this off now because it's probably going to be spoilers for about 20 minutes at least.
Yep, so yeah, 3, 2, 1, we're going to head into spoilers, so if you want to check out, do it now.
Alright, so my first spoiler that I want to talk about, and it's the only reason is because it was what he had on right from the start. And I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, or if it's just foreshadowing what's going on.
Right.
And it's Vision's tie. So I don't know if everybody actually got a understanding of what it was. It's a rectangle with 2 dots in the middle, and then dots on the outside. And from what I'm understanding, the 2 dots in the middle are Wanda and Vision. And they're in their own little
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and I'm glad you caught that because I actually missed that.
Hey,
Yeah, hey now. Yeah, I think that's exactly what that is. I think that was a very subtle but not so subtle indication of what's going on.
Okay.
So
I
yeah.
feel good now. Another one that you want to talk about, and unfortunately I don't have a photo of it, is that you wanted to go into detail about the commercials.
Oh yeah, the commercials. So what was really cool about it too is in both episodes, and we'll get into some of the second episode, which is very much in the vein of Bewitched. And if you had the 50s with Dick Van Dyke or late 50s, and you get into the 60s with Bewitched, and it's really cool. But in both of the episodes, they have a full commercial. And the first commercial was for a toaster, and the toaster is made by Stark Industries, which was a not subtle, not at all, but very cool. So
When I watched that, I was like, did he really waste time on making a commercial for a toaster?
Yeah.
Out of all the things that he would do back then.
And well, they did, I guess.
Now, I think the second commercial is by far more of an Easter egg than what the first commercial was.
Much more.
And I'm going to go into a big picture here because it's a detail that I think everybody needs to know about.
I agree. Okay, yeah, as you can see there, we have a watch. And it's a Strucker watch. So if anyone is either familiar with the comics or more likely the movies, Baron von Strucker. And who was Baron von Strucker? Well, he was in Avengers Age of Ultron, and he is the one who gave Wanda and her brother Quicksilver their powers. So not so subtle nod. Strucker, what does that mean? He was a part of, and if you can zoom into the watch, if you're a viewer, you can check it out. There you go. What are you seeing there? There's a Hydra symbol. So Hydra is a part of this, which, wait a minute, I thought Hydra was defunct. Didn't Cap and Falcon and Black Widow take down Hydra? Probably not all of it.
And that's great because in the 50s, Captain should have already have wiped that out.
Well, yeah, I mean, they were
actually this
out.
Was in the 60s. Right. This commercial was.
Yeah, this is the 60s. So is this indicating something that we can get into with some of our future spoilers? Is like, are there two factions trying to get to Wanda? And we can get into some of the spoilers next. But those are a couple of Easter eggs there that we saw.
Another Easter egg, and it was pretty subtle, and I think a lot of people saw this, and I don't even know if we talked about this yet, was this symbol that we would see. It's a black and white symbol, and I believe that's the Grim Reaper's signal.
Yeah, this is pretty big for me anyway. The Grim Reaper is a huge villain of the Avengers, and specifically Vision and Scarlet Witch. There he is. Yep. The Grim Reaper, who is the brother of another early Avenger, Simon Williams, Wonder Man. And in future episodes, we're going to do a deep dive on him and give you all kinds of background. I'm super excited. He's one of my favorite characters. I'm hoping he comes into this series somehow. I hope this means he's finally going to be in live action.
I don't think they would put... That was very obvious after you really look at it, that that's what it is.
Yeah.
There's nothing else it could have been.
No. I mean, this has to be Grim Reaper. You don't put that in there. Now, how he's going to tie into this show, I don't know. A lot of his storylines doesn't lend itself to what's going on here. But Marvel always finds a way, so we'll see what they've got up their sleeve.
Okay, so in the first episode, like you were saying, there's typical storylines, and one of the storylines is there was confusion about making dinner for the boss.
Right.
And that was a very weird whole situation. And I want to... The first thing that you notice besides Wanda, her cooking abilities, I mean, that was pretty interesting, is this bottle of wine.
Oh, tell me about this.
Okay,
yeah,
now
let's go into this.
If I can get this right, so the bottle of wine is in French and it says Maison du Mépris.
Okay.
And if you translate that, it says House of Misery.
Right on.
And I think that's one of the biggest Easter eggs in this whole first episode.
So are we talking House of M?
And that's what I think.
I think so. I think we are, guys. I think we are. For us old-time comic readers, it's a big, huge storyline Marvel did several years ago. And I think this is really going to be the catalyst for this series. I think it's going to go around this storyline. And in that storyline, Wanda suffers a great deal of loss in the comics. So let's translate that to the movies. What's happened to Wanda? She's lost her brother Quicksilver. She lost Vision. She lost Vision, the love of her life. He's dead.
Which that's one of the things right away that my kids were confused about.
Yeah.
On this WandaVision is that they understood Endgame well enough that.
Like, how is he here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll find that out for sure. But he didn't die once, but he died twice. I mean, in like the matter of 2 or 3 minutes. So Wanda had to kill Vision, and then Thanos brutally killed Vision. So, and then at the end of Endgame, she's basically alone. Mm-hmm. So what's going on with her? She's probably in a bad space. And in the comic books, she was in a bad space, and her powers alter reality. So she creates her own reality in the comics. And in the comic books, there's a classic line that she utters, and she utters the words, "No more mutants." And in that storyline, she wipes out every mutant on the planet except for 118. So all of them are still alive, but they have no more powers. There's no more mutants, and there's no more mutants being born.
I'm just sitting back getting knowledge right now. So that's so far over my head.
So that's what happens in the comic book. And so she creates this entire reality where all of her loved ones are alive. Her brother, her father, who's Magneto. It's a really great storyline. But how are they going to do this and translate it in the movies? We'll see, or the DisneyPlus show. Because, of course, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we haven't been introduced to mutants yet. They're on their way. They're coming. But we don't have them yet.
Doesn't the House of M really... Now, I'm, again, more casual, but doesn't the House of M open it up for X-Men and everybody to be involved with the whole MCU?
Yeah. I mean, as we go forward, and for those of you that know, we've got WandaVision's just the first part of this multiverse storyline. So, something's going to happen in this show where she cracks the multiverse. And it bleeds over into the new Spider-Man 3. We don't know the title yet. Comes out in December of this year. Hopefully, yeah. God willing. And then third part goes into Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, which we know she is in. And she's actually Elizabeth... what's her name?
Olsen,
thank you. She's filming it right now over in England. So they're filming Doctor Strange 2 as we speak. COVID related, if it's on pause or not. But
the other thing about the end of the first episode that was very strange to me, and it really showed me about how much Wanda is in charge of everything, is the scene where the boss is choking on the sausage or whatever it was.
Yes.
And okay, the wife of the boss actually freaked me out, where she's just saying "stop it" the whole time.
Yeah, it's very creepy.
It's weird.
It makes you feel like she is aware she's not in control.
Yeah.
So she's playing the part, and it almost seems like, is that her husband in real life? That they've been transported to this alternate reality because she's in terror that he's dying and no one's doing anything.
And the other thing about the dinner was Wanda had to tell Vision to save him.
Yes. Now, why was that?
Because Vision would have done it right away, I think.
Absolutely. So why was Vision himself also waiting for Wanda to give the go-ahead? And it just goes to show you, and then we'll get into the other scene where she does the same thing, is that she's in control somehow, but not in control at the same time or aware that she is.
So the end of episode 1
is
Okay, the end of episode 1, my wife is going to be like, this is just weird.
Oh,
and
yeah.
if you don't know what it is it goes out and then it starts going into this situation where someone's watching them through a TV.
Yeah, so someone is watching them. Who is watching them? What organization is watching them? So, as we'll see, the organization is... Are we ready to talk about that?
Yes.
So, the organization is S.W.O.R.D. And S.W.O.R.D. is basically S.H.I.E.L.D. That not only protects American or world interests, but outer space. So they're the new S.H.I.E.L.D., the upgraded version of S.H.I.E.L.D. And if anyone remembers, I think it was the end scene in Captain Marvel, I want to say.
Okay, this is what I was going to ask you, and this is me, again, casual. I think it was end of Spider-Man Far From Home.
No, I think you're right. You're right,
You see Fury, and isn't he at S.W.O.R.D.
That is the one. Yes, okay. That's the scene. So as we see, and again, spoilers if you haven't seen Far From Home, we find out that the Nick Fury in Far From Home was Talos, the Skrull, the whole time. And he's calling into the real Nick Fury, and he's on a beach. Well, no, he's not. He's in a room that looks like a beach. He opens it up, and there's a huge ship, I guess, but they're in space, and it's under construction, and that's S.W.O.R.D.
Okay.
That's S.W.O.R.D. So that's going to play out in a DisneyPlus show called Secret Invasion that's coming up, too, in the next year and a half, but that's for another show.
If Wanda is in control of this universe that she's thinking of, why is S.W.O.R.D. observing her?
That's the question. We don't know.
Are they worried that she's going to break something for the multi-universes?
I want to say it's almost like a prison. Either someone's put her in there and they're trying to get her out, or maybe they put her in there because she was a problem that we don't know about yet.
Oh, wow.
Because at some point, I think and I feel like Wanda may actually end up being a bit of a villain. Yeah. Huh? For a while, I think her mental state gets so bad that she ends up wanting what she wants more than worrying about the rest of the universe. So,
all right, so now let's sort of head to episode 2.
Okay.
And you've already said it many times. One of the main themes of episode 2 was children.
Yeah. I mean, how many times did they say it? It's for the children. And as you watch the episode, you'll see what we're talking about. There's a fundraiser.
If you're still here watching this, you've already watched it.
Yeah. So it's a fundraiser for the children that they put on. And everything's about the children. It's almost like a Stepford Wives kind of weird cultish sentence they keep uttering about the children. So it's a huge subliminal message to the audience and to Wanda and Vision. It's for the children.
So as you see right here, Wanda and Vision are magicians.
Yeah, this is a real funny part of the show.
Actually, I thought Vision was amazing during this time because he chewed the gum and it got gummed all up.
It was great. I think
he was drunk.
Yeah, it showed Paul Bettany's kind of comedic skills. I thought he did so great. Good. It was really funny. My wife and I were both laughing, and it felt very much like a old 60s sitcom that are still great today to watch. And I thought it was perfect, really. The execution on all this is great. But yeah, here's another cool little Easter egg, really. In the show, they dress up as magicians, and it's glamour and illusion is what they call themselves, and it's a little nod to real characters from the comic books from the 80s. They really haven't made an appearance since the 80s.
So do you think this is more just a nod, or do you think this is something maybe coming up?
I think it's more of an Easter egg. I really do, because these characters were neighbors of Wanda and Vision. It's a 1985 miniseries called The Vision and Scarlet Witch, and in which case they're married and they go live in suburbia and try to do what they're doing now, and all kinds of hijinks happen. And Glamour and Illusion are they have powers of their own, and they befriend Wanda and Vision and are part of that miniseries. So I think it's more of just a cool nod.
So one of the things at the end, so the whole show is done and they come back home. Do you want to explain what, like, two things happen?
Okay. So in the episode, there's this knocking too that we find out is that tree branch, and then it happens again at the end of the episode. And Vision's like, I'm tired of this branch, if that's what it is. So they both walk outside, and then that's when it gets a little creepy, eerie. And at the end of the episode, there's a guy that comes out of a manhole, and there he is. And as you can see, that is the S.W.O.R.D symbol. So I'm guessing he's a S.W.O.R.D agent. So,
but why the bees?
That's the question. I don't know. The bees are interesting. Is it have something to do with just that he's an agent? Is it have something to do with this obscure Marvel villain who's mostly a Spider-Man villain called Swarm, who's made of bees and can control bees? Maybe. I don't know how this would fit in with the show. Or is this indicating AIM? If you remember AIM from Iron Man 3, Advanced Idea Mechanics, part of the Ant-Man movies as well. In the comic books, their uniforms, they look like beekeepers. Is this indicating something with AIM? I don't know.
Well, the other weird thing is after this, you see Wanda say no. Like, no, no, no.
Yeah.
And everything just reverses. And the guy goes back down in the manhole,
Right.
and it just doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. So, again, Wanda's in control. I mean, something about that guy, whoever he is, triggered her. And she's like, oh, this is not part of this.
Yeah.
This is not part of my reality. This is not part of the show. You got to go.
So then they go inside.
Okay, yeah. What happens when they go inside?
All of a sudden, things... Well, and you saw it when the lady cut her hand, that all of a sudden color's coming in.
Color was there, yes.
And then all of a sudden Vision starts becoming color.
Yeah, his face becomes colorized, and the whole room becomes color. Mm-hmm. And what happens when Wanda pulls back? Oh boy, yeah. She's pregnant. She's got
a big belly.
She's got some babies, hence the children. And we'll go into that. But a real cool note about the show, though, when it goes color, like for Bewitched. If anyone's ever watched Bewitched, mm-hmm. The early episodes were black and white.
Yep.
And then as the show progressed, it became color, and I thought that was kind of cool.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
So here is the question about: is she pregnant?
She's pregnant, and what does that mean? Well, here we go. This is another big build-up. In the comic books, she got pregnant. How does one become pregnant with a synthoid man? I don't know, but she did, and she had 2 kids. And they grew up, and here they are. Speed and Wiccan. Twins, and future members of the Young Avengers.
Wow.
And Marvel is definitely building up the Young Avengers. They are coming. We have other members going to appear in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
So it's just happening.
We have another member showing up, filming right now, the Hawkeye DisneyPlus show. We have another member that is rumored to make his debut in Secret Invasion. So there's a project in the works, Young Avengers. We don't know.
I think that's where Marvel gets it.
Yeah.
Marvel understands that they have to get younger. It has to be about more people than just the main Avenger characters.
Right. Yeah, that's what Marvel does so well. And, they broke the mold with Guardians of the Galaxy because I can remember when that movie came out, I was excited, but I'm me. And so I'm a minority of mm-hmm. people that even knew who those characters were.
And as a casual fan, I was like, huh? I mean, honestly, but now I love it.
Right. Who doesn't know Groot and Rocket?
Yep.
And these were as obscure as you could get in the comic in the comic world.
It just takes... It's like that song that everybody says is good at the beginning and you just don't understand it, and then now it's one of your favorite songs.
Right, exactly.
And that's just what they do.
Yeah.
We're going to go into another headline. And if you don't know, 1 second we were hearing things about Chris Evans, and the next second we were hearing different things. But the main headline is Captain America is coming back, and Chris Evans is coming back.
This one took me by surprise. We follow this stuff pretty close, and Chris Evans has made it very clear that he loved his time with Marvel, but it was done. He's moving on. I think he's interested in directing. He's never been one to love the celebrity spotlight. He's more of a behind-the-scenes guy. So yeah, and he had the perfect send-off in Endgame.
Yep. Well, and that's the question. If he does come back, then are we getting this Cap right here, or are we getting old Cap? What do you think we're gonna get?
I think there's a lot of scenarios. I think the one area that I don't think we're gonna get, we're not gonna get a young Steve back in New Adventures.
Okay.
I really don't. I think that was the perfect send-off. Now, could we get, like you said, the old Cap that we see in Endgame, and he comes back and mentors Sam as the new Captain America, if that's what happens? I think that's one possibility. Or is there a possibility we see a DisneyPlus show that shows Cap taking all the stones back?
That's what I think is going to happen.
It's my preference. Is what I want
just
to see.
Think about that. That's a whole thing in itself.
I mean, look how
it's like Back to the Future.
Yeah, I mean, that was no easy task. I mean, of course you would give Captain America the job, but I mean, when he had to go,
I think it's going that way.
I think so too. I hope so. And if that may be what intrigued Chris Evans enough to say, "Hey, yeah, I'm going to sign on to this." But go ahead.
The only thing that I really worry about this is I was always a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
So I love WWE. I love like Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, and all them. The thing that always I think was bad for wrestling was they would always bring back all these old wrestlers.
Yeah.
Like they have good young talent, and they would always bring back the old wrestlers because they were worried this young talent wasn't going to push them.
Yeah.
And I worry that Marvel is going to be so concerned about getting Chris Evans and all them back every once in a while that you're going to take away from the good young talent that you also have.
It could be. It could be. I mean, that's a line they probably need to balance, though, because that's a good analogy, but I liked wrestling maybe not as much as you, so I maybe have loved the new guys, but, oh, man, how cool was it to see Hulk Hogan again?
Undertaker's 6 years old, but
Undertaker's back. Sting is back.
Yeah, so, exactly. Now, there was a funny thing, because when all this is coming out, Chris Evans is like, well... And then he tweets out...
What do you say? News to me.
I mean...
Okay, guys, here's the deal. I don't even know why these actors do this at this point. If anyone knows or follows this stuff, Jason Momoa was adamant he was not Aquaman. In fact, he made a comment that, if I'm Aquaman, you can come punch me in the face. So, while being Aquaman the whole time. Also, and I don't know the actress's name yet.
It was a Marvel character, right?
Yeah, she's going to be She-Hulk on a new Disney Plus show coming up, filming here in the next couple months. She denied publicly that she was She-Hulk. She said, I am not She-Hulk. I don't know where this is coming from, while having already signed on to be She-Hulk.
Yep.
So I think this is that. I think, it got out before maybe they wanted to properly announce it, and Chris is like, hey, news to me, guys. I don't buy it, but we'll see.
That's interesting. And this week I also had another huge news.
Big time.
And I think we need to give props to who broke it. Was it Planet Popcorn?
Popcorn Planet, Phantom Wire, definitely were the originators of this breaking news, so check them out. They broke it, yeah.
So it was all about Black Panther. It had some information on what it was going to be. one thing is, I don't know, they're going to have a tribute to Chadwick.
Yeah.
But they are not. They already announced no CGI and no recasting him. But that doesn't mean that someone won't be in the whole Black Panther costume.
I think that's how they'll do it. They'll have to show T'Challa's version of Black Panther in some form in the beginning of the movie. It won't be Chadwick. They're not gonna do a CGI. That you can CGI someone in the Black Panther costume, and I fully believe that's what they'll do.
Now, we're talking about this, and this might be very unpopular. So if you disagree with me, you can put something in the comments. Be nice, but
yeah.
I look at Black Panther as a huge, huge character in comics.
I agree.
I think Chadwick was one of the most outstanding people that you hear about what he did in his real life and all that kind of stuff. And I feel horrible that he passed away.
Yeah.
But terrible. I feel that he was an actor.
Yeah.
And he is not Black Panther. And I don't know if they're doing the right thing on not recasting. Because if Batman died, if Val Kilmer died, you're not going to say, we are now not going to have a Bruce Wayne Batman.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
And so I worry that this is a mistake.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned too. Your point's true. It's the same with Superman, Christopher Reeve dying.
Yep.
You know, you don't stop making Clark Kent Superman. James Bond, you don't stop having new James Bonds. So, I think it is true. T'Challa is such an important character. I mean, he's so popular right now. I think it's so unfortunate. I mean, that this happened and that we're not going to have T'Challa, Black Panther, on the screen anymore. I do think it's a bit of a mistake long term. I think short term, it's too soon to recast him and put a new actor as T'Challa in the Black Panther Part 2. But I think by not putting a new T'Challa in there, then then you're set for the next several years with whoever the Black Panther is, and it's not T'Challa, which is it's really big time disappointing. So
with this news coming back this week, and I don't know if Popcorn Planet did this one or not, but it was brought out that Killmonger will be coming back to Black Panther 2, which is confusing to me. I understand it because you never officially saw him die.
You did.
So Shuri could have brought him back.
I agree.
But what's confusing to me is he's in line to also be the throne. And you know where I'm going with before I get there, but I'm so confused on what his role is going to be with him coming back.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, it's like, well, if you're going to have a new Black Panther and it's not T'Challa, and this guy's coming back,
he was amazing.
He needs to be the Black Panther.
Totally agree.
So I'm super excited that he's coming back. Have no idea how they're going to do it. I will throw this in the comics. My kids always get annoyed with me when I say in the comics. Killmonger's come back from the dead at least twice, so it's kind of his thing.
Okay.
So it could very much be the same way here. But why they're bringing him back, I don't know. If he's not going to be the Black Panther, which we'll get to as part of what Phantom Wire broke, I don't know why he's there, but I'm excited.
Oh, I'm totally excited because I think Michael B. Jordan was amazing.
Yeah, he was phenomenal.
So we're going to have Popcorn Planet introduce 2 villains.
Yeah.
The first one that I want to talk about, and I didn't know the connection, and again, casual, I always thought of Fantastic Four is Doctor Doom.
Doctor Doom, finally.
I hope they do him right.
I do too. He's my personal favorite Marvel villain ever. I love Doctor Doom so much. And he's had crap versions of him in live action. Just the 05 and 07 versions were okay, and then there was a horrible I don't even know what it was with the most recent Fantastic Four Abomination. So I'm excited. I know Feige and Marvel will make the definitive Doctor Doom present on the screen. And this, in my opinion, is a genius move not to have him be in the new Fantastic Four movie, which Marvel is going to do, and not to have him maybe make his debut there, because it'll have been the third or fourth time they've done that.
And
so
they try,
this is a great idea. There's a precedent in the comic for Doom and Panther to go at it. So this is very cool.
So the next thing is, it's sort of connected, that Wakanda is going to be involved with Atlantis.
Ooh,
which brings up...
Here we go. Namor, the Submariner.
See, I call him Submariner.
Yeah, so, by the way, this guy is the first Marvel character ever, debuting back in the late 30s, not too long after Superman. So,
wow.
This is Marvel's very first character ever. Namor the Submariner. Yeah. Yeah, super cool character. I'm very, very interested in how Marvel's going to pull him off, because Marvel has set a tone, and Feige's the genius behind all this, that he always one-ups DC. He heard Batman versus Superman was coming out. Don't worry, I'm going to do Civil War.
That's amazing.
Yeah. We've got all the multiverse stuff coming out. Flash is going to have a multiverse movie with Michael Keaton's Batman with Ben Affleck's Batman. Guess what? Feige's already ahead of the game. I'm doing multiverse before you guys will even have that Flash movie out. So the only time DC's really beat Marvel to the punch was with Aquaman.
And Aquaman was good.
I love Aquaman. I thought it was fabulous. So I'm going to be super excited to see how Marvel does Namor the Submariner here, and how they try to make it different from what DC's done.
And then the big news, which I'm not 100% gung-ho about.
Yeah. According to sources, Phantom Wire being the one, and I've heard this from other people as well, Shuri is going to take over the mantle of the Black Panther.
I know the tech is there, but when you saw her fight, it was all about the tech.
Yeah.
And that's all she had.
I guess if she takes the herb, she'll get the powers. But and I liked her as a character. I thought she was really cool. I want to see more Shuri in the movie, for sure. I don't know, especially if you're bringing back Killmonger, that you have her. But, I don't know. I'm not super excited about that plot line, but... we'll see. Maybe it'll be great. When we watch it, it'll be like, okay, that was definitely the way to go.
And what do you all think? Put it in the comments. I mean, if you're all gung-ho for it, I'm not trying to be the guy that says a female can't do this role. It's nothing about that. It's just how her character was in the first Black Panther. I just can't connect how she's going to become the Black Panther all of a sudden.
That one's hard to imagine. But, we don't know what they're cooking up. Ryan Coogler's a pretty great writer, director. He's done the Creed movies, and of course he did the first Black Panther. So, I'm excited to see what he comes up with, and I think it'll be good. And personally, even if that ends up still not being my favorite plot choice, I'm super excited to see Doctor Doom and Namor. There's
enough questions that's going to intrigue me enough.
Yeah. I think it'll be good. I mean, Marvel hardly ever gets it wrong, so.
That's true.
Nerd alert!
All right, now we are going to what segment we're going to call Nerd Drama. And there was a ton of drama this week, and unfortunately, I think the drama would have been headline news. Yeah. But with the big news that we got coming out, it sort of got pushed back. So the first thing is Ray Fisher.
Ray Fisher, Cyborg. Here he is. For those of you that have seen Justice League, Coach and I are of the opinion Justice League is not up to par, and I think the majority of the population agrees.
I hope the one they're remaking is way better.
Yeah, so, we're all waiting to see what they do with the Snyder Cut. And here we go. Ray Fisher, his allegations against DC and Warner Brothers management is continuing. For those of you that don't know, Ray Fisher had allegations against Warner Brothers and on-set treatment during filming of the Justice League, and more specifically, the reshoots that Joss Whedon did. So those shots happened. I mean, they filmed part of it with Zack Snyder. He had a family tragedy, had to step down. They brought in Joss Whedon to do a bunch of reshoots and finish the movie. And apparently, and according to everyone that you listen to or hear about, the experience was not good. But Ray Fisher is the one who came out and said, "Hey, something's got to change. There's a abuse and other isms on the set."
Wow.
So he's not letting up though. Apparently, there was an investigation by a third party to Warner Brothers. They've completed the investigation and remedial action was taken. We don't know what that means though. So,
but as of right now, he's out. Which is what everybody's saying in the Flash movie.
He's out. Warner Brothers says they are not having Cyborg, who was set to appear in the Flash movie, at all. So they're writing him out.
So,
but as of now, Cyborg, or as some affectionately call him, Cryborg,
he's pretty good.
He's not going to be in the Flash movie, and Joss Whedon, for those who don't know, he was working on a show called The Nevers for HBO Max. He excused himself from the production of that. He wants to spend more time with the family. Did he do that on his own? Was he forced out? We don't know. Wasn't enough for Ray Fisher, though. No. He wants the head of DC Films, Walter Hamada, to be another casualty. And Warner Brothers says, look, we've done the investigation. It's over. It's time to move on. And the bad thing about this, man, is that whether Ray deserves better treatment or whether he's exaggerating, I don't know. It feels like things were done, investigations happened, people were let go, were fired. It's time to move on. But Ray's not going to let it happen, and it's dividing the DC fandom at a time when I think there was a lot of excitement. So we'll see what happens with this.
So the next drama alert is Gina Carano.
Oh, Gina Carano. Who doesn't love Gina Carano? Who is watching?
She was amazing on Mandalorian.
Oh my gosh. How do you not like her? She's so awesome. There's just a lot of drama with Gina Carano. That she is not yet been a casualty of cancel culture. But boy, the guns are out. The knives are out. They're gunning for hardcore. Rumor is Jon Favreau is... he's got her back. That's the rumor. And the fans, most of the casual fans love her. And she makes some tweets that people don't like. And
I don't understand, because it's okay. I mean, she has freedom of speech. And it's not like she's going after people. It's just her tweet is her tweet.
Yeah, her tweet is just more about individuality of thought. She doesn't go along with maybe some of the Twitter mob and their views. And they don't like it. I love it. I love her standing up for what she believes in, and she does it in a respectful way, but it's not enough for a lot of people. They're out for her, but as of now, the rumor is she is going to be in that new DisneyPlus show.
Which, Disney usually doesn't mess with what's going on. They usually would fold, so I'm not going to be shocked if it still happens. But I'm hoping something changes to where they see how popular she is anyway and just goes for it.
I think that's the way it is. I think at one point, if that Mandalorian wasn't as big of a hit as it was, or her character was just kind of so-so, she'd be gone.
Yeah.
But because it is so huge and people love her so much, that I think that's going to save her, and I hope it does, because I'm super excited about that. We're going to get into some more nerd drama in future episodes about the whole Civil War with Lucasfilm currently going on. And, this is part of that. But I think most people got Gina's back, and the rumor is Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni definitely do, and that's probably the main support you want to have right now.
So now, last thing on nerd drama, and you know more about this information than me, but it's the Punisher logo. The Punisher in general, or... People are calling for it to be done.
Yeah, we're going to try to avoid politics on this podcast, but this one's kind of bled over, unfortunately, and A lot of conservative folk have utilized the Punisher symbol in, some of their symbolism, what have you. And unfortunately, the storming of the Capitol had some guys that were arrested who had this symbol, I don't know, on their sleeve or what have you. So, well, guess what? The Twitter mob strikes again. They're out for blood. Specifically, the Punisher. The brutal Marvel character, the Punisher, popular for years and years. Yeah, some people are calling comic creators. I've seen tweets. Marvel has to cancel the Punisher. It's time to put him to pasture.
How can they be responsible for people just wearing the logo? I mean, it'd be like Superman's logo was going to get
right.
How does that happen?
What if we had a serial killer out there who had a Superman symbol all over his victims? I don't know. What do you do then? I mean, you can't just cancel a whole character
because of somebody's choice.
Yeah, and I'm not equating what happened at the Capitol or those individuals was a serial killer, but I mean the symbol. The point is, I don't know how you would want to police that, and I don't think Marvel will. But these days, I do get a little worried because corporations do bend down
easily
to the Twitter mob, and So I hope there's not a reaction to this, and I hope it dies down, and the Punisher still goes forward. There's rumors that John Barenthal, who played the Punisher on Netflix show, may be carried over to the main Marvel universe in some capacity, along with Charlie Cox's Daredevil. He's rumored to be in Spider-Man 3, so
that'd be awesome.
I hope I hope this goes away and people forget about that and don't try to cancel the Punisher.
All right, so that is it for Nerd Drama. We will have more of that each week. Of course, we'll be looking for information each week. So if you all have anything, either tweet us or you can put a comment below and we'll look into it. Maybe we'll make the show next time for Nerd Drama. Now we're going to go to what we're going to call this segment Deep Dive, and this is where the brain over here is going to get deeper into usually just one character, and you're going to try to tie it into maybe the headline or something like that.
Yeah. We're going to try to go every week into a character, hopefully tie it into a show that's current or something that's up and coming. Or maybe it's just someone we want to talk about that we think is really cool that DC or Marvel will get into someday. Today, though, we're going to focus on Monica Rambeau.
Now, why?
Why would we do that? Well, I'll tell you why. Because she made her debut in WandaVision. She made her debut, and I don't think she was in episode 1. I think it was mostly episode 2. She wasn't even called Monica in that. She had another name.
Which that threw me.
That did too. That threw me too. I had to actually do a double take. It's like, wait a minute, is that really her? Mm-hmm. It is. Monica Rambeau has made her debut in WandaVision, and she's going to be a major player in the Marvel Universe. There she is in her original 1980s costume. The deep dive we're going to go into on this character is that, guess what? What was her original name? Captain Marvel.
Okay, this is just boom. Like, doesn't make sense.
You're thinking, wait, what? Captain Marvel?
Yeah, exactly.
What's going on here? So she is not currently called Captain Marvel in the comic books, but when she made her debut, she was. In fact, she was so popular, or at least Marvel Comics liked her so much, she led the Avengers for a time.
Really?
Yeah. She's super powerful. She's got light-based power. She can move at the speed of light. She turns into pure light. She's got all kinds of powers. Maybe one of the more powerful heroes in the Marvel Universe. Now, she's currently going by the name Spectrum. She's had a lot of code names. Again, Captain Marvel being the first. And then she became Photon. I don't know. And then she became Spectrum. And that's what she's currently called in the comic books. But it feels like mostly people just call her Monica Rambeau.
So if I'm a fan and I'm liking WandaVision. And I know Monica is going to be a bigger character in it. What do you suggest I do to...
Well, I mean,
where do you want to go?
If you want to go, I mean, you can look into her first appearance if we can pop it up there. Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 16, I believe. So she makes her appearance there. It's a really cool book. It's art by John Romita Jr. He's one of the greatest artists Marvel's ever had. He's super popular. So yeah, check it out. It's really cool. And then, you know,
do they go back and read some of these?
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, pick up some trades, some Avengers trades that feature her, anything like this that collects some of her one-shots that she used to have. She's never really had a solo series. She's always just had either a mini-series or a one-shot or been a member of the Avengers. So there is also some trades that I would recommend. It's a book called The Ultimates. It's a different version of the Ultimates from one that appeared several years ago with alternate universe Avengers. But this one's a new version of the Ultimates, and it stars her with some other characters, two of which are Captain Marvel and Black Panther. But she plays a prominent role on the team. It's really trippy, really cosmic. I totally recommend that. So research some of that if you're interested in her character. I think she'll suit up at the end of WandaVision and she'll be fully powered. I do know for a fact she will be in Captain Marvel 2. So you'll get to see more of her in that movie as well.
All right, the last segment we are going to do is going to be called Stop the Press. And this is where we're going to go right into comics. I mean, this is what it all started on, was reading comics. So the big news this week, and we talked about reading some old comics for Spectrum, but the big news this week is Future State.
Future State by DC. Whoo-wee, boy. DC is in a state of flux right now. They have a lot of problems, lots of problems. But... you know, some of this actually does look pretty cool in my opinion. So DC for the first the first 2 months of the year have stopped most of their regular titles and are publishing all the Future State books.
This does not look cool to me. No. What the heck is that?
Well, that right there is Jonathan Kent. That is Superman's son, Jonathan Kent.
So how young is he right there?
Oh, it's unknown. I think they're jumping all over the place in Future State with the timeline. They had a really great series that had a lot of followers. It was well done, well written, called Super Sons, which featured a young version of Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne, Batman's son. So that was a really cool book, but
this
they've aged.
This
Jonathan
is the
Kent
newer.
up.
This is Superman.
Yes, though they're in hence the title, Future State. So we've got future versions here of all of DC's classic heroes. We have a new Batman, Tim Fox, Lucius Fox's son.
That's weird.
We have Jonathan Kent, Superman's son. We have the new Brazilian Wonder Woman, and I still can't get her name right, but she's got already a lot of fans. And I gotta say, I'm really interested in her. She has a great costume design. I think it looks like Wonder Woman, but she looks like her own character instead of just kind of a blatant ripoff. And really, people are actually excited. Even cynical fans of this whole event are like, the Wonder Woman looks pretty sharp, though. And then we've got an alternate Aqua Woman. I think that's Arthur and Mira's daughter. We have a Flash.
Yeah,
that I believe, at least in one of the versions of the Future State titles, this is a non-binary Flash character. I don't know who this one is. I think the character went by the name Kid Quick, because it looks like in some Future State comics, it's one timeline, and then we get into another grown-up version of these characters. So I think they're trying to show a progression of them, and eventually in the Justice League title, they're adults, and that's the new version of these classic characters.
And the so hard thing about me is I don't know enough about Flash and the time travel and all that kind of stuff that he does to now get into a different character altogether. So it's really different. Now I think I'm good with Batman. I can understand all that because I know enough information. But
I think you're the litmus test then, Coach. Is tell them how does this appeal to you? You're a reader. You love these characters, but you're not a consistent reader.
Yeah. My first thing would be going after the Batman stuff.
Okay.
And then the second thing probably Superman.
Yeah. So. Well, there you go.
That's what's wrong with comics.
That's WB/DC Comics,
Yeah.
aka the House of Batman.
So going right into the next thing.
Here we go. We've got the new solicitations or the new DC books that are coming out in March, I believe. And hey, some of this stuff looks really good. But gosh, it's Batman. So if your guy is Batman, if that's who you love,
I like him,
then you're gonna like a lot of what DC's producing because it is Batman centric. I mean, all over the place. So you have a new title here. What do we call it? The Dark Knight.
Yep.
So another version of The Dark Knight Returns. It's not another version. It's a whole new concept here. It looks like another.
Is it Bruce Wayne?
It looks like we've got an old Bruce Wayne who's bitter and hard, kind of like a Punisher type. So we're gonna call him the Dark Knight. You know what? Is it Andy or Adam Kubert? I can't remember who's doing the art on this, but hey, it's great art. It probably is gonna be a good read.
It's gonna do well.
Yeah.
That's why they're making it.
Yeah. I feel like I've read that storyline 100 times, but
totally.
Maybe I'll read it 101. So
well, and then the next one that's coming out, and it's interesting to me, Robin, but it's the young Robin.
It's the young Robin. It's Damian Wayne. It's Bruce's son.
And I love Batman and Robin.
Yeah,
the one that they just came out with Damian Wayne, and I thought it was great.
Yeah, Damian Wayne is actually a pretty great character. He looks like a little kid. He is a little kid, but he's super deadly. He's one of the best fighters in the DC universe. It's a great version of Robin. I'm actually excited about this.
I'm more excited about this, actually, the Robin, than I am the Dark Knight.
I totally agree. I'm on board with this 100%. So sign me up, because I'll be getting Robin. Now, my personal favorite Robin is always going to be Dick Grayson, who is Nightwing. But we get Nightwing too, so he's still out there. All Batman things are out there. If you love the Batman universe and all his side characters and villains, I mean, we even have an ongoing Joker series now. So that's
my favorite all-time villain.
Yeah,
so out of both.
You're gonna get that in spades.
Now, okay, we're gonna teach this on trying to get people into comics. And it's so hard to go down to a local comic store and buy a comic because they just don't exist.
No.
I started Cosmicology. There's certain comics that you can't get on it. Where do you suggest that they go try to get comics like this new Robin coming out and stuff like that?
Well, it's a totally different world out there. You know, when we were kids, we went up to the grocery store, the dime store, what have you, and bought comics. Or a bookstore, Walden Books, Barnes & Noble. So there's just not a lot of places right now, but I think DC is attempting to make inroads to all the major bookstores to get their books on the shelves. Other than that, you've got digital comics, or you can order your comics
straight from DC, right?
Straight, you could, or you can find like a Midtown Comics or Mile High Comics online, and they'll send you. If you order enough books, they'll give you big discounts. So there's ways to get these books still. Right. But as popular as these characters are in media and in the world, the comic books themselves are becoming a bit of they're going the way of the vinyl record. They're going to be niche. You know, they're going to be something that people want to get on the side, but they're not the main way you engage with these characters. So that'll be the future. You know, DC Comics. We can go more into that in our next episode about the drama at DC Comics. Are they even gonna publish comics in the near future. Rumors are in June they will not publish books at all. They may be only digital books. So those are some insiders that they're talking about. I don't believe it. I think they're still going to have comic books. They're an IP machine, you know. They're the storyboards. They're free storyboards for Warner Brothers and HBO Max. Like, hey, what's a good Batman story?
Get a feeler out there to see what would work.
Well, we got a new Robin. Well, let me look. Oh, well, this would be a good HBO Max series. Let's do it. So, you know, but we can get into the DC drama next time.
Yep, and we will say this before we're done. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, comment. If you didn't, comment. We also, to help us, help you guys, hit the sub button and do the little bell thing so you get notified, you know, when we go live and stuff like that. We're hoping eventually that we can make this an actual live stream, that we could take questions and stuff like that. But for now, this is the route we're going to go.
All right, man. This was fun.
See you guys.
We'll see you guys.